and then install the database. Of course, I can make it image and do that one, but we are not doing this one. What we are doing for database purposes, we are using platform as a service. What is a platform as a service? I always compare the platform services as a studio apartment, where IaaS, right? What I have compared with a IaaS with a flat, a new flat. Whereas PaaS, I'm going to compare that with a studio apartment. So I'm going to compare it with a studio apartment. What exactly the advantage of having a studio apartment? That means you really don't need to worry about you got a cot, you got a couch, you got a refrigerator, television, nothing, right? Everything is already in place. You just move in and start using that one. Similarly, the platform as a service, by default, they will give you whatever you require, not everything. For example, you require in my case, I require the database, right? I really don't need to really don't need to create a machine and install database. What I can do, I can simply go here. I have something called as if I come down, I should see SQL databases here. Directly go to SQL databases, create the database. What Microsoft will do is at the back end, it will create a new server, put the database on that one, and directly give my database. I really don't need to install any sort of database, guys. Okay, so this is what will happen. That means in studio apartment it is ready made actually. So you have like a Azure SQL database, you have MySQL, you have Postgres, you have NoSQL, Cosmos DB, and you also have like one of the important thing is called in app services, which is not there in AWS actually. Azure have something called app services where you can deploy application just like that, uh, very easy. So these are all platform actually. I have a ready-made platform. Let's take one more example. Imagine you have a small startup which you require database. You really don't want to recruit database person, just you need to have some 10 databases. What you can do, you can opt for PaaS, and immediately the database is available, and all the fine tuning as well as patching, all the management will be taken care of by uh, Azure itself. Now there is a problem with the studio apartment. Can anybody say what is the problem with the studio apartment? Anyone? Any problem with the studio apartment? There is one major problem. What is it?
I think the problem with Microsoft, this one, Azure will provide some tools. Only those tools only we can use that.
No, that's not the. I'm not actually asking for Azure. I just asking the question is what is the problem with studio apartment? No, not Azure. Leave about Azure. We'll talk to that one. Now,
Okay.
customization becomes very big problem for you. So what will happen if you get a studio apartment and you already have some imagine there is a television of LG, and you go and talk to the landlord saying that one, I don't want that, I want a Sony Bravia because in my home is having a Sony Bravia. So what he is going to say, sorry, it's not going to get changed. So in a studio apartment, everything is fixed, you can't alter it, you can't customize it. Similarly, what will happen is if you take platform as a service, right? Imagine if you install, if you take a IaaS server, install a database, right? You can do a lot of things, but all the things cannot be possible if you take for Azure SQL, because they won't give you admin rights at the backend machine. So if there is any performance problem, or if you want to do some customization on your Azure database, right? I mean, they will allow you at some level, but they're never not going to give any sort of access to the machine where the database is running. So then what will happen? You can't do most customizations. That is the problem with the Azure SQL. Not on Azure SQL, any platform as a service, your customization is limited. So let me tell you an example actually. If I go here, I'll say Azure SQL. Okay, uh, unsupported features, for example. Okay, so SQL features. Okay, I don't want to go. This is a very old one, so I really don't want to compare that. Okay. So what will happen is there will be things, a single database managing. So you can actually compare it. What will happen is, so some things will not be supported, so change data. So this is basically the single database as managed instances. That means this managed instances means it is actually the IaaS actually, single databases and elastic pools something. So what will happen is there are some features which are not supported. So what I'll do is, if the customer comes and asks me, okay, we want to use Azure SQL, and I'll say yes, very good, you need to use that one. Before that one, we need to verify, and we need to make note and make the customer known, saying that one, these are the things which are not supported. So if you are expecting this, then you know you are not supposed to use that one. Okay, if you see, uh, see SQL analysis, Azure analysis service is a separate cloud service, but if you install a service, I think you should get it actually. So like that, you need to do a feature comparison, and you need to go ahead and check it out. Okay, these are the things it will be supported, and these are things not be supported. So SQL server profile, it's not supported. I don't know what it is by, I'm not a database guy, but it's not everything is supported. This will become far more worse if you go for AWS, because most of the things it will support. The reason is Microsoft SQL is belong to the Microsoft only, and Azure belong to the Microsoft only, they will support. But if you go and check the same things in AWS RDS, right, then it will say a lot of features are not supported, like log shipping, a lot of not supported. So but overall, what you need to understand is, when you are using platform as a service, your options are limited, and your customization might not be possible. Okay, so what I'll say, like, CSP will provide the platform, and customer no need to manage it, and manage it as well, platform and manage it. Okay, customer will be only using it and not responsible for managing it. Okay, only problem is cannot perform, or I can say cannot alter or upgrade features or the way it is working, because customization might not be possible. Actually, this is platform as a service, guys. So never directly say to the customer, okay, just because you learned recently cloud, right? If some customer comes and say, I want to use database, don't directly say, okay, let's use Azure SQL. You will get into a problem actually later. Okay, finally we have software as a service. What exactly it is? Now, software as a service we are using every day actually, which is what I can, the best example is, now in IaaS you will get the infrastructure, platform as a service you will get the database. So what will happen? Now I'll take a scenario. I have some company which is having 50 employees. We are into education background, something like Bejus is there, right? Similarly, we are creating some application where it is only used for studying purposes, or people actually preparing for civil services or from government exams. It's an app, for example, imagine. Now I have 50 people working, testing, testers, developers, as well as a AWS person, but I really don't want to have some email server, all these things, email server or documentation, everything. So what I can do, I can directly, if I want all the 50 people need emails, right? So what I can do is, so I simply opt for O365, Office 365. Now, what Office 365 will do? Office 365 will directly give you end-to-end all Office features, something like Outlook, as well as your Microsoft, like Office related things. Or we can go to the Google Apps actually. Or you know that they have like the biggest thing is Salesforce, guys. So you have ERP system. So if you see, I'm not a proficient in Salesforce, but what I understand is Salesforce, you don't need to install anything on your on premises. It's everything can be accessed over online. So what will happen? Salesforce will actually provide you the ERP system, enterprise resource planning, or customer relationship management, so CRM, so online only. So what will happen? You just pay how many license you want, you're going to use that one. So again, software as a service will make your life so easy. For example, if you use Office 365, so what you can do, you really don't need to install any sort of applications or any Office, everything. You just pay the money, buy the licenses. Now what's the problem? Again, customization might be very difficult. So because if platform as a service, you can't do much of customization. If you software as a service, you are not going to have any sort of access to the backend systems, guys. So what will happen? You can't do the any sort of automation, but this is good for companies if really don't want to invest on or waste of time on just setting up the infrastructure for email systems or some applications, right? You directly opt for software as a service. There are a lot of other services as well, something like backup as a service, dr as a service, xas, anything as a service. Lot of things are available, but these three are the major things which falls under as a service. Basically nowadays, even there are people actually giving actually as a like if you want to put a dr, right, so they'll put a dr as a service. That means they will make, like if you go to SunGuard and everything, SunGuard, I think they are providing dr as a service. That means they host your service as a dr. So something goes wrong with your data center, you can always have the dr to check it out. Okay, this is IaaS, PaaS and SaaS. And any questions here, guys? Any confusions here? You can unmute and ask the question, and later we go for account creation.
So you said that we don't have access to the backend server.
Mhm.
So is that similar to the PaaS as well?
Yes, see, at least PaaS, you are actually using the database. See, in PaaS, let me put an example. You have some application, .NET application. So what will happen? You can go to the PaaS and you can actually get the database, and you take, I'll take one IaaS server. In IaaS server, I install the application. Before that one, I go to the PaaS, create a database, and I go to the IaaS server, install the application. It will ask for database, and I'll give the PaaS database and work. It's done. Now the whole installation is not required here, right? Because directly they'll give you the application itself. But the problem is you won't get all applications. So imagine if you have some XYZ application, it is not offered as SaaS actually. Okay, so that is the problem. So there are only limited services which are actually offered as a SA. That is why it's not that famous, and uh, it is only offered by big companies actually. So if you have some application and if you need to install it, SaaS is not for you. So you can use IaaS and PaaS. So SaaS comes into picture, it is already there, the application is already there, you're just going to pay money and start using it. That is only for SaaS. Any questions here, guys? Any
So,
confusions? Yes.
so what is the main difference between PaaS and SaaS, Sriharsha?
You
So,
still
in the
have,
same,
okay, so if you take Azure for a moment here, okay, in Azure, if you go and add database, you can see the database at least. Okay, even you might not have the full control on the database, still you can use the database. SaaS, you really don't need the database as well. Okay, SaaS, it is actually hosted. See, for example, imagine, guys, let me show you something. If I go to O365, Office 365, okay, so what you can do, I can basically log in. So log in and say that one, imagine I want to have an office. So earlier, if you want to office, what you need to do, you need to basically install that office basically. So but what I can do here, I can simply go buy the office. I'm really not going to worry about thinking about something like this, right? So how do I need to install the MS Office? What are the features I need to? Nothing, you just pay money and start using it. You don't control anything. Similarly, if you go to the Salesforce, you just go to the URL and log in and start using it. Okay, the one of the example, imagine if you go to the ICICI Bank, for example, imagine it is a service actually, banking service. Okay, now you are some bank actually. What you want to do is, normally you need to put all infrastructure, right? You need to put databases and everything. Nothing. So in our case, what will do is the vendor only manages all your applications. So you just log in and start using it. So simply said, if you're using software as a service, you're not going to host any infrastructure. Very simple. There is no infra, at least in PaaS and SaaS, you have the infrastructure. PaaS, if you are deploying the SQL server, SQL, it is still there, it is in your account. SaaS, right, you really don't need to deploy any sort of infrastructure. It is actually accessed over the browser, so you don't need to install anything. Okay,
got it. So we'll just get it in a web access for SaaS.
yes, yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
So we are clear on IaaS, SaaS and PaaS, right, guys? Okay, fair enough. Now let's go ahead and create an account. So, okay, can anyone who don't have an account in Azure ping me your email address? I'm going to create an account for you, but I'm not going to put any credit card details. You can put it later, but I'm going to show you the steps. So you can put in your chat your email address. Let me tell you, you don't have any account earlier. You didn't create any sort of account earlier. Just put your email address. I'll create an account for you. Okay, so Suresh, give me. So Suresh, you don't have any Azure account, right? You then never created any account, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's go ahead and create one. Now, let me go to the Chrome. I'll say portal.azure.com. Now, if I go to portal.azure.com, so you see all the old accounts and everything. So what will say, like, if I use another account, click on this one. Now, if I put your email address and if I go to next, right? So if you say, see, you have an account, see this one, it is asking for a password. You should not, if you don't have an account, it should not show like this. It should show saying that one. It will simply say, if I use this one, it will say there is no account. So you need to basically create one. So, or I'll create one here. If I give something, let's see if you want to see, it is already having a Microsoft account. Please use a different. So that is what I'm trying to say. So anyone who don't have an account in Microsoft, just give me your email address. I'm going to create one.
Got it.
Guys, you don't need to worry about it. Just type your email address. Who don't you? Everyone has an account. Then I don't need to say how to create an account, by the way. Looks like everybody has an Azure account. Then I really don't need to create one actually. But anyway, I'm going to tell you. Okay, Arun Kumar hotmail.com. Okay, fine. Let's use Arun Kumar. So I'm going to give it here.
Is both Microsoft and Azure account both are same?
Yes, both are same. You have an Azure Microsoft account which can be converted into Azure account. So Arun dot Kumar N. So if I go next, see this one, someone already. Okay, so try. Okay, not account, right? I need to hold on. I'll go back. So you already have an account, right? Hotmail. Okay. See, if I give this one, Hotmail belongs to AWS Azure basically. So what will happen? It will ask the password. No. If anybody have a Gmail account who don't have any sort of didn't work even logged into Azure or normally Azure, just ping your email address, not Hotmail here. So if you use Hotmail, you need to give the password also, which might be okay. So shake for to Azure. Okay, let's see. So it is saying, see, we can't find an account with that username, or this is what you need to get it actually. Okay, so if you are trying to create a one, so we can't find an like this. Okay, I'm going to create one. I'm going to go next. Okay, I'm going to put a password. Shake, what you need to do is you just ping me. At the last, I'm going to give my my phone number. You can ping me and give you the password. Okay, so hold on. Please be on mute. Okay, you should have got a code. Check it out. Yeah? It's a 4-number code, I think so. Just check it out, email, and give me the code. Now let me tell you what exactly is happening when you actually trying to do this. Okay, when I try to do this, Microsoft is not actually creating you Azure account. It is actually creating a Microsoft account for you. Now that account is actually called as tenant account. So what exactly is tenant account? We're going to talk about that one. So what is the code? If the email is right, you should get a code by this time. Check in spam as well. Just put in chat.